Hello, my name's Rachel and I work for the Step 2 Young People Health charity in Bradford. This video is about misogyny. What is it and why does it matter to us? The definition of misogyny is dislike of, contempt for or ingrained prejudice against women. This can take place on an individual level, it could be cultural or it could be institutionalised, such as at a university or in a workplace. Okay, so what causes it then? Some people have no idea that they're being misogynistic. It might be that they've been brought up in an environment where using those words and phrases is acceptable, where speaking about women in that sense is absolutely fine. They don't understand that there's anything wrong with it and they needed to be educated otherwise. It can also come from past traumas involving a woman that somebody has trusted. So it could be a parent, a family member, it could be an ex-partner in a relationship where something has happened in that relationship, it's gone bad, and the person being misogynistic is now showing an oversimplified view of the world and that all women are bad, all women will leave you, all women will hurt you. For some people, dopamine is released when they're being misogynistic, so they get a hit of, oh, I like this, that feels good. So those people will repeat that behaviour. So what does it look and sound like then? So there's some phrases here that could be considered to be misogynistic. What's the matter with you? Is it that time of the month? That's not okay. It's not acceptable to point that out. Somebody could just be having a bad day. She was seeing two lads at the same time. Slag. Okay, perhaps that isn't what you'd understand of a relationship, but to that person, maybe they'd agreed that that was acceptable. And also, if a man had done that, would we be calling him a slag? She was wearing a tiny little skirt. What did you think was going to happen? Your outfit does not dictate what is going to happen to you during the day. You're free to wear whatever you want. She would look a lot better with a bit of makeup. Perhaps she's allergic to it. Perhaps she just doesn't want to wear it. Perhaps she doesn't believe that she has to wear it to go out in public. I can't believe they promoted her over me. She must be sleeping with someone. Perhaps she's just very good at her job. I only pinged you, brat. It's just a bit of banter. Grow up. Actually, no, that's sexual assault. New colleague's well fit, but I can sleep with her before the end of the month. This completely devalues the woman. It doesn't take into account the fact that she could have a partner, she could be married, she could be gay. But this employee is thinking, yeah, I'm well in there. Just met her, but I'm well in. On this slide, we've got some examples of misogyny in the media and on social media platforms. The first one there is a post from Twitter by the Chicago Tribune, a newspaper. Wife of a Bears linesman wins a bronze medal today in Rio Olympics. Okay, understandable, they want to celebrate the fact that she's won a medal in the Rio Olympics. However, they've reduced her to being the wife of somebody else who's famous. They've not mentioned her name. They've not mentioned what her bronze medal was in. They're not looking at her achievement at all. They're looking at who her husband is. Beneath that, you've got a headline that's been rewritten. Originally, it said, woman was flirty and very friendly in the hours before she was allegedly raped. And it's been rewritten to, man accused of rape says alleged victim chatted to people at party. At parties, it's okay to go and talk to people. It's okay to go and mingle and to go and have a chat with people, especially people that you've not seen for a while. Just because a woman was chatty and friendly at a party does not mean that she should go on to get raped later. In the middle there, you've got Amy Adams, an actress. The team behind the post have set up a competition for you to rewrite snarky headlines. The original said, makeup-free Amy Adams is anything but glamorous as she goes wild in the aisles in Los Angeles supermarket. And they've changed that to, woman buys groceries, remains 5-time Academy Award nominee. Just because Amy Adams is famous does not mean she has to get all dressed up to go and do the grocery shopping. She doesn't need a full face of makeup. She doesn't have to be wearing a ball gown like she would for an awards ceremony. Amy Adams can go shopping however she wants. At the top right there, you've got the Mail Online. Women who want to succeed at work should shut up. while men who want the same should keep talking, research says. There's a couple of things about this headline. I'd like to know who's done this research, whether male or female, and what was the purpose of the research, why were they actually conducting it. I'd also like to consider what men are saying that is so much more relevant and important than what any woman ever has to say. Women can be really creative, they can bring brand new ideas to the table that hadn't been considered before. Why are women expected to shut up while men are allowed to keep going? And at the bottom there from the Daily Mail, you've got a headline about, well, it's not really about Brexit. You've got two country leaders there, two world leaders. You've got Nicola Sturgeon, who is the First Minister for Scotland, and you've got Theresa May, who was the Prime Minister of Great Britain. The Daily Mail have totally taken away from whatever it was that these ladies were discussing, presumably something very political related to Brexit, and all they've done is never mind Brexit, who won Legsit? Which of these women have the best legs? There's an element of lad culture, and some of it is okay, where it's bonding and men are going out to the pub together and having a nice time together. That's absolutely fine. Nobody's suggesting that it's not. However, there is this culture that lads are legend, girls are sluts, and that guys can do whatever they want, they're invincible. They can grab a woman's backside in the pub, that's absolutely fine, it's not a problem. They can catcall, they can wolf whistle, that's all acceptable. It isn't. It's really unacceptable. It's misogyny, it's harmful sexual behaviour in some cases. We know from previous work that there are lad points that can be dished out. This is often seen in schools and educational settings such as universities, and the boys are given points for things that they do to the girls. So for example, you might get so many points for pinging somebody's bra. You might get so many points for walking up behind somebody and grabbing them inappropriately. You'd get points for getting a woman to perform oral sex on you, etc., etc. Women are not being seen as people there, they're being seen as objects for male pleasure, and that's completely unacceptable. It totally degrades women. I'm sure many of you will recognise the gentleman in the picture at the bottom there from the In-Betweeners movie. So one of them is constantly talking about sex and how many times he's had sex and what he's done with this woman and what he's done with that woman. And we know it's all false. However, young people are seeing that language used and they're thinking that that's acceptable. I'm not saying that they can't watch TV, but they should take what they're seeing with a pinch of salt and be aware that actually that's not acceptable language in society. So it can be very harmful to people. And the more it's allowed to happen, the more it will happen. We're modelling this behaviour, and as I said previously, our children and young people are seeing that and picking up on that, and they're potentially thinking that that's acceptable, whereas we know it's not. It can lead to mental health issues for some people, such as low self-esteem, depression. That can move on to eating disorders. People can self-harm. And it's because they're not seen as important or they're not valued. Women aren't being supported in society because, well, we're all supposed to shut up at work and let the men get on with it. And women will feel less able to access certain careers if the workplace is toxic. So if there is that sense of, just got a new co-worker, she's really fit, I'll have slept with her by the end of the month. Why on earth would a woman want to work there? That does not feel like a safe environment. Okay, so what should we do about it then? When we hear it or see it, we should call it out. We should say that's not acceptable, just as we would with anything else like racism or transphobia or homophobia. We should call it out. But it's not necessarily just enough to call it out, because if people don't know what they've done is wrong, they will carry on doing it anyway. So we need to educate people. I'm not talking about sitting them down and having an hour-long lecture with them about what misogyny is. I'm saying you could say to them, let's have a chat about this. Why might some people be upset by what you've just said? What could be an alternative way to phrase it? And it's that sense of supporting each other. It's supporting people who might not know what they're saying is harmful, or it could be supporting those who've experienced it. And we need to create positive working environments where everybody feels safe. It's not just about making women feel safe, it's about making every single person feel safe and included. We've got some information there about the Step 2 Young People's Charity. You can see all our social media handles there and our website. Please feel free to check us out. We do have some other videos available on YouTube as well. Or follow us on social medias for various updates about what we've been up to, new terminology and educational posts.